The Florida Gators have landed another commitment and signee that wasn't already in this class in safety, Gregory Smith III. We'll talk about that here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another bonus episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day, or your second or your third, because this is the third show today with two bonus shows coming out. Maybe more, who knows? But I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. If you're part of the subtext group, you've expected Gregory Smith III to be a Florida Gator when it's all said and done. That's been the expectation for us, at least. If you're not part of the subtext group and you want to join, go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnGators. And now to talk about this commitment, I do want to say, because he had a really weird top six. I know that there's a lot of people who look at Gregory Smith III's top six and you see that it's not exactly the most prestigious group, I guess we'll say, which is fair. That's a fair concern to have. However, the reason for that is that Greg Smith III isn't a true safety. He played QB, he played receiver. He's an athlete that is going to play safety. That's what's going to happen with Greg Smith III, is that he's going to be playing safety for the Florida Gators. He is going to be making the transition. Wherever he played, he was going to play safety. That's why his ranking is so low. He's purely a project player, which, sure, you could argue that Florida's not necessarily in the spot to be taking project players. Completely valid concern. However, who cares at that point? I don't have a problem with taking a project player, especially because as a coaching staff, you're not looking at this as, well, we're not going to be here next year, or whatever your thought process can be, no matter how optimistic or pessimistic you are about this program. You're looking at which players can make us better. And so for Florida, you're going to be looking at Gregory Smith as someone who can do that, because he does have a very, very high upside. 6'4", 200 pounds. And you know what he brings to the Gators? This brings a hammer to the Florida Gators. Dude is a tank. That's like Cam Chancellor size, physical as hell. I think for him, the hard part of evaluating him has been that he's played it a bit, but he's going to be virtually being taught on the fly how to play this position, how to play DB. So that's been a big thing, because he was a QB last year. I think he then played a little bit of receiver and running back, or ran the ball a lot as a QB in like a option-y style. And then, he pretty much made the DB change this past summer. And even then, not really played a ton there. I know the top six was Vanderbilt, which Vanderbilt is the school that he did the fake out. He did the hat fake out. He put on the Vanderbilt hat and then he took it off. By the way, totally got me with the fake out. I'm not going to pretend that he didn't get me with it. I was totally bought in that he was going to Vanderbilt. I was like, damn, losing Greg Smith too. But the final six was Florida, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Virginia, South Florida, and Toledo. There were two schools that he could have chosen that I would have been happy with, obviously, in Florida and Toledo. But doing the fake out to Vanderbilt was a fun one at that. Kind of wish he did it to Ole Miss, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember him having an Ole Miss hat on the table. So isn't that? But Greg Smith is now a safety commit for Florida again. that I know, you lost Xavier Filsaime. Gregory Smith III is not a Xavier Filsaime replacement. However, I do think that he does have a very high ceiling and brings a lot to the table here. And again, I know that people are going to look at the Gregory Smith commitment and see that he's a low-ranking kid and find ways to really just bitch and moan about more because things aren't going great in Gator Nation. And so why not pile on this thing that makes me seem brain dead if I pile on it? You're adding a safety with a high ceiling that is playing a new position. You're moronic if you think he should be high ranked. It's as simple as that. But fact remains, great size. Again, 6'4", 200 pounds. Dude's going to be willing to hit, which we can't say we've had throughout this entire secondary for years now. But again, someone that can contribute long term, can be a dude that will make plays in their secondary. I think Will Harris coming in, that was kind of a thing too because Greg Smith was the one who was supposed to commit last week on exactly a week ago from today. And then the plan for weeks before that was to push it back. And then I think it was On3 reported that he wouldn't push back the commitment date. And then he did push back the commitment date. And I know that a lot of Gators fans lost their minds about that, which maybe you could say Will Harris, maybe you could say that lengthy period where you didn't have a DB coach, maybe that contributed. Like if you had a DB coach hired off rip, then maybe you keep him. But either way, Florida was a favorite for this all along, ended up being a favorite, or ended up being the pick. And I'm going to be happy for it. I don't care. I think that when you add a player with a high ceiling like this in a spot where he might, again, I'm not saying he's going to play early, but if he can pop under Will Harris, then he's probably going to get some playing time there. And I'm going to be happy about it. I think you're adding someone with great size, high ceiling. I'll take that 10 times out of 10. Obviously, that's not what you want to be your crown jewel of the class. But Greg Smith is someone where, in a season or two, you can look back at this class and you can say, all right, look, wasn't a highly ranked kid, but he worked out. Then you go, all right, great development. That's going to be that. And if he doesn't work out, you go, yeah, he's one of the lowest ranked kids in the class, changing positions or learning a new position. Shouldn't have, like it makes a lot of sense that it didn't work, but you're not going to be mad if it doesn't work out. You're swinging for the fences with this one. And again, because I had a comment about it this morning, Gregory Smith III is not a Xavier Filsaime replacement. Obviously, that's a whiff in this class that you're just going to have to deal with. But he is someone that is going to step in at safety, and especially a safety spot where you desperately need depth. There's just nothing there in the Florida Gators safety room depth-wise. So I'll take that 10 times out of 10. So that's where I stand. I know that a lot of fans want the only blue chips and only this. I get it. This is an ad to be happy about. I will leave it at that. This is an addition to the team that I am happy about, at least. And if you're not, pucker up, Buttercup. It's as simple as that. There's just not. So it's just something that you just gotta get over it. If you're not happy about it, you add a high impact, high ceiling player that could be one of those diamond in the rough type players. And who knows if he stays at safety? Maybe he moves around again. This is an athlete that is going to be changing spots and learning on the fly in the SEC. So I'm happy about it. We'll talk more about Gregory Smith, more about the rest of early signing day, more about this Florida Gators 2024 recruiting class. And if you got anything that you want to throw in the chat, go ahead and we'll get to that. Before we talk about those, we do have to take a quick word from our sponsors. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than, get this, 1 billion professionals, which makes it easily the best place to hire, right? The best place to hire. They even launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And this bonus episode of Locked On Gators, 100 of you in here. Also brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. And if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, picture this. You can just bet on a buy game in college basketball. $5, get $150 in bonus bets. That's free money, baby. The app's easy to use. Bowl season is one hell of a time to bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season and bowl season right. Remember that FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. And like I've mentioned with this class, I did just get word that for Florida, I mentioned before, and I've told the subtext people this before, that Florida would be targeting a West Coast DB, and then someone leaked the name of Jason Mitchell II. That's not happening in Gainesville. Just know that that one's not happening. I can tell you that because I just got told it live. So you could hear it live. First time you're going to beat the subtext people. Join subtext.com/LockedOnGators. But yeah, so not targeting Jason Mitchell II, but Florida, again, you've added your athlete in the secondary that's going to be your project piece. You've added today a running back in Jaden Baugh. You've lost Amaris Williams, Adarius Hayes. Look, there's some of the, and LJ McCray is still a I don't want to say a TBD, but he has postponed his actual signing of his national letter of intent, which isn't an awesome thing to hear, but it is a thing that we're going to hear here. But for Florida, things can go up with LJ McCray. I've been told that loosely. I've loosely been told that if it's an NIL thing, expect Florida to be very, very competitive on that. You look at the rest of the class, and most of the class is signed. You've got your 16 signees, the only 3 not signed, and all 3 of the portal commits have signed so far. But you look at the 3 that haven't signed, it's DJ Lagway, who is set to sign, I think in about 2 hours. I think it's 4:30 Eastern time is when DJ Lagway is signing. LJ McCray postponed. Don't know if he's still going to sign in this early period or if he's going to push back. But obviously, the quicker this happens, the better it is for Florida, probably. Isaiah Williams has not signed yet. He's scheduled to sign. I just don't know off the top of my head what time that is. I'll see if I have it pulled up here. No, I do not have the page open with all the times, so not gonna get that. But yeah, I'm fully expecting LJ McCray to be a Florida Gator. I just want to make that one clear. I'm still expecting him in the Florida class, hopefully soon. And like I said, the sooner it happens, the better for the Florida Gators. But this is a class that has tumbled a bit down to 13 now after losing Amaris and Adarius. And while we expected those guys to leave, and while we know that Florida eventually pulled their scholarship on Adarius Hayes, it still sucks to lose a player and tumble in the class. Like, yes, we expected them to leave. I got nothing. Why that just happened? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why everything just went black. I got no answer for you there. But Brandon Alger, you can keep. But DJ Lagway signing with Florida, and LJ, I fully still expect to be a Florida Gator when it's all said and done. So this is a class where it does suck because you had those guys like Amaris Williams and Adarius Hayes in your class, and then you lost them, and that's what helped kind of tumble your recruiting ranking. So while you might have been mentally prepared for them to leave, you can't be prepared for those guys to leave and go, oh yeah, we still have a top 5 class. So that part does suck. But for Florida, you've still got the only player that I think is committing today or signing today that I'm expecting Florida to be in on is offensive tackle Favor Edwin. And now, okay, Brandon, here's what happened, because I know you're going to bitch and moan about everything you possibly can. Hayes' scholarship was pulled not after he told Florida he was signing with Miami. That's a brain dead thought. Hayes' scholarship was pulled when Florida was losing the battle. Like, there's no doubt about that. Hayes blew off Florida's in-home visit so that he can go visit Miami. And from what I was told, that was where Florida was just like, all right, we're done with it. Done with the shenanigans. So that's what I was told, is that when he took the visit to Miami, instead of taking an in-home visit from Florida, that's when the scholarship was pulled. Because kind of just like, all right, we're done with the shenanigans, the committing, the not committing, or the shutting down the recruitment, all that stuff. So for Florida, things can get better. Again, I'm expecting LJ to still be a Florida Gator. That's my expectation. That has not changed. And until I hear otherwise, that will not change. And yes, Lagway will be signing soon with the Florida Gators today. He's got that scheduled time. But thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back later tomorrow. Who knows when things will happen. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. And as always, I'll see you all next time.